Louisiana Superintendent of Education visited Claiborne Elementary today, and he was touting Louisiana's progress that is now topping national lists. Jason Gregory has the numbers.
In 2019, Louisiana ranked second to last on the nation's report card. This year, the state now ranks at 32nd. Louisiana also leads the country in fourth grade reading on the Education Recovery Card, which tracks academic recovery after COVID. While Dr. Brumley is proud of Louisiana's improvement, he says there is more work to be done.
It's really good to see Louisiana making educational progress. We're pleased with that, but we're not satisfied. There's more work to do. I credit the teachers across the great state of Louisiana for the work that they're doing every single day to help kids.
Dr. Brumley says there are many efforts that have been made to get Louisiana where it is now in education.
I always encourage parents to, as much as possible, to make contact with the school, make contact with the teachers, stay connected as much as possible. We want parents to be in the driver's seat of their kids' education. We want educational freedom to expand across the state of Louisiana.
Dr. Brumley says it's best for state and local leaders along with parents to be at the forefront of a child's education.
I would prefer bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. to not make those decisions for kids here in Northeast Louisiana. And so what we're going to continue to do is just focus on teaching kids to read, teaching kids to do math, understand and appreciate their country, working to support teachers, accelerating parental rights. And we think if we do those things, we'll continue to see good results.
Along with Louisiana's other accomplishments, Dr. Brumley says a study came out Tuesday showing that Louisiana is the only state where the average student has recovered from the pandemic. He credits this to parents and teachers working together to ensure proper education. In Ouachita Parish, Jason Gregory, KNOE 8 News.